What's up, guys? Welcome to Whiskey. I'm Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around at the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below, and with that out of the way, let's jump into our review. Today we've got the Glen Scotia 11-year-old white port, peated white port, lightly peated white port cask finished. All right, so we're doing a Glen Scotia today. I looked at the 2022 Campbeltown Malts special release last year in 2023, and because I'm impressively consistent, now I'm looking at the 2023 release in 2024. Glen Scotia is a fan favorite distillery. I like them. I think they have quite a few genuinely fantastic whiskeys, but I don't like them quite as much as probably you. They're good, but I can't match the enthusiasm that a lot of people have for them. And before you come at me in the comments, again, I do like them. I just find them kind of inconsistent. For every fantastic whiskey they put out, they'll put out something that I just don't really get along with. That said, though, I do think they're getting better with time. I have tried most of the releases they put out for the Campbeltown Malts Festival, and broadly speaking, they're really good whiskeys. Last year's, I scored an 87. That was a peated 8-year-old, and that one was really good. So the big question for today is, of course, Jeff, where's your fancy whiskey glass? Why is it a regular Glencairn today? Well, I haven't done the dishes yet. Get off my back. The other big question is this going to be as good as last year's, which was my favorite to date, or can it even surpass it? And the answer to that is gonna come later. This is still the intro, man. Calm down. So what do we need to know about this one? Obviously, it's 11 years old. It's lightly peated. It's been finished in a white port cask finish, and it's cask strength. So it's just a combination of things that you don't see every day in the whiskey world. So at the very least, this should be an interesting one. Let's not waste any more time talking about it. Let's jump into the review. Let's jump into the review. And if you'll kindly leave a fucking like, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. I don't feel like doing a bunch of reshoots until I get the scene right. So you're getting a bunch of bloopers today. The bright side is my PR team says that makes me more relatable. So we get a nice 54.7% ABV here, which is just in the sweet spot for me. My favorite ABV range would be like 52 to 55. The flavors are big, but they're not over the top. This is also non-chill filtered, and our color is natural. For looks, I think this is decent enough. I don't love the gray purple look, but I don't hate it either. I don't really feel any which way about it. I will say with the purple touches, it doesn't feel especially premium, but you know, whatever. Yeah, neutral, so 2.5 out of 5. It does say non-chill filtered and natural color. It says lightly peated, white port finish, cask strength. We get a QR code on the back that takes us to the website, and the website has this kind of like tasting experience set up for us. All of that's fine. The information that we need is on the bottle, and it looks okay. I did add a splash of water to this. On the nose, we get some port flavors. I get stuff like underripe grapes, sultanas, apple cider. There's also butterscotch, caramel, apricot. We do get some peat in here. It's pretty salty. We get like coastal winds, gentle coastal breezes, he said poetically. There's some pears underneath all that, some peaches under that. We get some buttery, flaky pastries in here. There's also florals, cereals, and some menthol, eucalyptus type notes. It's an interesting nose. On the palate and finish, this is sweet, savory, buttery, and smoky up front. It's a full, rich texture. There's egg tarts, coastal peat, salted caramel, a creamy coffee note, like a latte type thing. There's roasted nuts, butterscotch, brown sugar, malt, grapes, indistinct berries, and a lingering hickory note. Medium to long finish. So I like this, and if the tasting notes are any indication, it's different. It's unique for a Glen Scotia, and it's unique for a port flavor. It seems that white port is not a typical port. So much like what I think to myself when I see another foreigner walking down the street here in Taiwan, it's got an interesting whiteness to it. Now, I don't know what else I may have had in the past that was white port cask, matured or finished. I definitely don't remember any brand advertising it as such, if I did, but it's different. It's kind of like the difference between purple grapes and green grapes in the sense that, yes, they're still very sweet, but we've traded in some of that more extreme sweetness for more restrained sweetness and a very slight, very faint acidic note. The sweetness is pronounced here, but it is also balanced out by a pretty intense savory note. The website for this says it's got a strong umami flavor. That's true. Kind of reminds me of my niece in that it's a particularly salty 11-year-old. She's not very nice to me. Anyway, if you know me and you know the channel, then you know I have an affinity for like savory, salty, umami type flavors in my whiskey. So that's only going to help this bottle along, at least from my perspective. This is easily the most savory and umami-y Glen Scotia I've had. So our word of the day here, aside from umami-y, is interesting. This is a good and unique whiskey. It's unlike most other whiskeys. And because it's probably going to be different from most of the whiskey you've had, your mileage is going to vary here. Still, I think if you're already a Glen Scotia fan, you'll probably get along with this. The classic Glen Scotia, like butterscotchy caramel type notes, those are in here. The peat is nice. The finish, it's well integrated. It's forward, but it's not overbearing. So whether you get along with this one or not, it's got a lot going on. It is sweet, salty, savory, rich, buttery, smoky, intense, and adjectives. So while I do expect this one to be kind of polarizing, I don't think everyone's going to get along with it. I do recommend that you try it because it's got that angle. You won't be bored. And beyond just being like different, unique, all that, it's very reachable. This is one of the most Moorish Glen Scotias I've had. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So for score, I'm going to land on 88 for this one. So try it if you're a Scotia fan. Try it if you're feeling adventurous. It's a good one. I think it's a really good one. Now, before we jump into value, I do want to take this moment to thank all of my channel members and all of my patrons. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And if you want to help support the channel, there are a number of ways that you can help. I have links to both Patreon and PayPal down below. Anything and everything helps, guys. If you want to help keep the channel financially sustainable and independent, that's the way to do it. And again, big thank you to everyone who's already supporting. Now let's talk value. So for value, I think this is a good deal. This one, so for value, we've got a good deal here. I liked last year's, and last year's was 3 years younger and more expensive. This one is older, but somehow cheaper. So I don't really have any complaints there. I paid about 85 American, roughly 65 pounds. For that, it's definitely good bang for buck, and I do recommend it. Okay, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want to help out the channel, as I said, I've got Patreon and PayPal down below. Also, I want to hear from you. Have you tried this one? How would you compare it to other Glen Scotias and other Glen Scotia special releases? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know all of that down below. Finally, down below, you can also let me know what you want to see me review down the line, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.